Well, we got to see some footage from first round pick Kenny Pickett actually in an NFL game. Let's get into it and let's start off with this play. So what's going to happen here is it's going to be a very relatively simple play. Teams are going to play zone coverage a lot in the preseason, or if you're playing Seattle in the regular season. But this is the concept that can beat zone coverage. You're going to see this a lot in the preseason. Plus, it lets you know how well your quarterback can throw on the move and how well your quarterback can make reads, because it is a pretty simple read. Look at how when Kenny Pickett takes the snap, he's going to roll out to the top of the screen, and I would assume, and I can't see what's going on down the field, but I would assume that the two reads down the field are covered up. And as long as that's the case, then Kenny Pickett is doing the correct thing by looking over towards the check down. As you see, Pickett does a good job of throwing on the move, and he's able to hit the tight end. Listen, there's a chance that number 13 was open and Pickett missed it just because I can't see what's going on there. But what we did see was that Pickett went through his reads and decided that the check down was what he wanted to do. He made an accurate throw off balance, and they were able to pick up a decent gain there just because of the situation, and I think a good play by Pickett. And also going over here, talking about some smart reads that I can actually tell, that I can actually see what's happening. This is a good example, I think. One of the things I am always impressed with when it comes to Kenny Pickett is his ability to make correct reads. He's a very smart player, and he really mastered that offense at Pitt. He's now trying to master the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. And, a lot of what you do is just, hey, if it's a simple read, make the simple play. It's not that difficult. And that's kind of what I always liked out of Pickett, is he didn't try to do too much. And this is a good example where it's going to be zone coverage, and you see how this play concept can work, right? You have two Pittsburgh players who are both going to kind of get into the same zone, but one's running deeper, one's running shallower. So if the Seattle player ends up covering deep with the deeper route, you throw underneath. If he covers underneath, you throw to the deeper route. As you notice, right, when this play begins, right here, it's the shallower route that's open, as, the Seattle players stayed farther deep at first. He now sees the shallower route and is going to try to come in and make a play. However, Pickett makes this throw earlier, and they're able to get a completion. The receiver then runs the wrong direction, which cost a couple of yards, but still a good play from Kenny Pickett. Not a high level play, but listen, he got the yards that were on the table. That's what you want a quarterback to do. Some quarterbacks would have said, let's try to make something magical happen, and it would have been a disaster. Well, that's not Pickett, and I think that's a pro, not a minus. Moving on to this play, I think it is a massive pro. And this is something where, that last play you're going to say, it's a simple read in preseason. But this play is actually very similar to a play that I got on Jordan Love in my video about him for not being able to make. Jordan Love missed a read. That was actually on a big touchdown, so, you didn't feel too bad about it if you're a Packers fan. But this play, which is also going to be a touchdown right here, I guess technically a 2-point conversion to be exact. But the way it works is we know it's man coverage. That's what we can tell by the way the defense is lined up. We can feel pretty good that unless this is a really clever disguise, probably going to be man coverage. And it looks like we can pretty easily tell 4 of these players who's going to be covering them. Again, could be a clever blitz, but that can happen on any play. There's one player, the tight end who I've circled, who we don't exactly know who's covering. We have an idea of who's probably going to be covering him, and it's going to be the defensive player who's lined up the closest towards him. But it really could be any of those 3 guys because he is over the middle of the field. Either of those 3 could end up picking up that tight end. And so literally at the very beginning of this play, I barely started it. The ball's not even in Pickett's hands just yet. I can't say my, classic Kenny Pickett takes a snap because he hasn't taken the snap yet. The ball's still not quite in his hands. As you see, the player who I've circled for Seattle, who I think it would be reasonable to believe is probably, pre-snap, probably the guy who's going to be covering the tight end Pickett wants to throw to, he's already moving towards Pickett's right, which means that he is not covering that tight end. He's going to be playing safety and covering the other 2 players, meaning someone else has to pick up the tight end, but those 2 players are far away. So Pickett then takes the snap, throws over, and is able to make the throw, and they're able to get the ball into the end zone right there. That's just smart football by Pickett of pre-snap realizing, okay, this is the situation. If this guy does this, I do that. If that guy does that, I do this. All of that stuff. He knew what to do. Second he saw it, he took advantage. These are the things that Pickett can do. This isn't it's just preseason against backups kind of situation. Sure, maybe it's a mistake that a veteran defensive player wouldn't have made. That I totally agree with. That's reasonable. But it's nice to see that he can take advantage of those kind of mistakes. You are going to go up against, backups at certain points in the NFL. One more play, another kind of, again, just small read, but the correct read, simple play. What's going to happen is it's a cover 3 zone, and you see the route that Pittsburgh player is running, trying to get in between sort of a little bubble into coverage right here. And so Pickett takes a snap, and you're going to notice very quickly why Pickett wants to make this throw. You see the receiver, and you see why he's open, and it's because of the defensive player who is closest towards that receiver, towards the top of the screen. So kind of like, not the one who is the corner, but the other player. He is moving very far in to cover up a potential route over the middle, and because of that, Pickett notices this is going to be open and is already committed to making this throw because he reads that it's going to get open. Pickett then makes the throw, and he is able to hit it, and they're able to get a first down. So again, it's making the smart reads. None of these are too complex, but it's a consistency thing. He does this so consistently. That's what I care about. Every quarterback can make these reads. You have enough sample size of any quarterback, they're going to make these reads, but I'm not sure they're going to make it as consistently as Pickett, and I'm including NFL guys in there, so that's cool to see. So obviously it goes without saying that for Kenny Pickett, he was going up against, guys that were playing in the fourth quarter of a preseason game. So you're not going up against the Legion of Boom necessarily. That's just not the situation, but that's fine. I still always maintain I care more about a preseason rep than I do about a college rep, just simply because it's much more talent there than it is in college. Now, there's some other issues. For example, in preseason, you might be trying certain things, so you're not actually just straight up trying to win. You might be trying to, try to get a jump ball into this receiver because we want to see how he can, handle a jump ball in a game type situation. Okay, sure. That stuff does factor in. But still, I do think that you can find some value in this. And I thought that Kenny Pickett, to me, showed me who he was last year, is that there is value in this guy. I feel like I've been relatively pro Kenny Pickett. He wasn't my favorite receiver out of that draft class, even though he was the NFL's favorite receiver out of that draft class, but there's still plenty to like about him, and I thought that he showed off what he can do. He showed off his athleticism, he showed off his intelligence, and he showed off his accuracy, and he showed off his 2 gloves. So I guess what else do you need from Kenny Pickett other than that? A lot of fun stuff, and certainly something that if you're a Steelers fan, plenty to get excited about, right? You're certainly talking yourself into it at that point. So yeah, that's kind of what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.